You are welcome to this class. Today we'll be handling issues that border on quadratic equations using completing the squares method. In previous class, we considered solving quadratic equations using the factorization method. But in this class, today we'll be concerned with using the completing the squares method. Don't forget that this is Patek Maths and Statistics class. Now, the general form of the quadratic equation is the form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So, step number 1 to solving quadratic equation using completing the square method. The first step in what we want to achieve here is to make sure that the coefficient here becomes 1. So you will divide through by a. So we have ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. This is what to do to achieve that. You divide through by coefficient of x squared. And that will take away this and we'll be left with x squared plus b over a of x plus c over a equal to 0. Step number 2 is to move this constant term. Why is it constant? It has no variable x, as we have it. We move the constant term to the right hand side. So move the constant term to the right hand side, and that is we'll have x squared plus b over a of x plus is equal to minus c over a. Then the next thing we have is we'll go to step number 3. And what is step number 3? Square half of this middle term. What is the middle term? B over a. Square half of the middle term. And add to both sides, and that will lead us to having something x squared plus b over a. We say half of it will be half 1 over 2, then square it this side plus this is the b, this is b over ax, b over ax. Now if you put this in this side and put this in this side, it's still the same thing. It's just because I am explaining. That is why the position is like that. It doesn't change anything. Then you have b over 2a all squared minus, you already have c over a in that place. So for proper, you can write b over a square x plus b over 2a all squared is equal to, we can open this to be b squared over 4a minus c over a. Now if you factor this, what you will have is you have x plus b over 2a squared. If you factor, it. You then take LCM of these two, you have 4a. 4a will go in 4a1, so you have b squared left minus a will go in 4a 4 times, so that when you multiply, this is what we have here is a square rather. So when you this is a square, good. When you a will go here 4a times. 4a times c will be 4ac. Now if you remove this square, you will have x plus b over 2a is equal to plus or minus the square root of anything you want to look, because it could be negative, it could be positive. That is the reason for the plus or minus we are using in that place. Now our concern is x, so we are going to make x the subject of the formula, so that x squared is equal to, it will change to minus b over 2, where we have plus or minus. And 4a squared, if you take the square root, it becomes 2a. So we'll only be left with the root on top. B squared minus 4ac. This is over, inside the square root, over 2a. So we come to this place and we have this left. Since 2a is common to both denominator, that is joined by plus or minus, we can take one of it, that is, we have taken the LCM, and you'll be left with minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. And what the implication of this is that, let's use this part of the board. Let's use this part of the board. Okay, the implication of that is that x will either be minus b when it is positive, that is when x is positive, will be when x is positive, b plus the root of b squared minus 4ac all over a 2a, or when it is negative, when x is to negative, you have x is equal to minus b minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, using the completing the square method, we have been able to derive a formula which is now popularly called the almighty formula for solving quadratic equation. So irrespective of the question, using this step, this approach, you are going to get values of s when x is positive and the value of x when x is negative. That brings us to the end of this class. In the next class, we'll be resolving problems using completing the square method. Until then, don't forget to subscribe to this channel by clicking the subscribe button. Bye.